Hey, Oscar, welcome. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, no worries. No worries. I know these later in the afternoon and evening streams are hard for my overseas viewers, so not a problem at all. And we're actually going to be done fairly quickly. I would expect that we'll be done by that time, if I had to guess. We may look at some alternate endings and that sort of stuff that you might miss, but pretty sure we'll be through by then. I expect we've only got an hour and a half left to do here. Welcome, everyone, to today's live stream, episode number 53 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Paladin gameplay series. I'm Commander Droval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, the only admin note is that this will be the last episode in this live stream series. We started this live stream series a long time ago with episode 53 here in the Paladin gameplay series. It was started just after the full release of the game, and it has been an amazing journey through this. This live stream series has been more what I call contrarian, partially through accident and partially through deliberate decisions that were made in how to progress the playthrough. So we've gotten to see some things here that you might not see in some other more quote-unquote normal playthroughs. It's not full evil, it's certainly not full good, it's somewhere right in the middle, and I think that's been a good thing to showcase. But at the end of the day, all things do have to come to an end, and this is one of them. So after today, we will be looking at what we're going to replace this live stream and the Bard live stream, which is going to end on Wednesday, what we're going to be replacing them with. And that I'm going to leave partially up to all of you, as I have in the past. I have some ideas. I'm going to take a break from the additional live streams for probably 4 to 6 weeks, if I had to guess, to experiment with other games, to take all of your feedback about what you would like to see happen, and then kind of go from there. It will give me a much needed break here during the NFL football season to be able to get my Sundays back for NFL football, but also a good break to decompress after what has, literally been over a year worth of live streams for these series. I have loved every second of them. I have loved every minute of the conversations with all of you, and I don't think of any of this as work, which is the key thing that I wanted to do throughout all of these live streams. So, again, we're coming to an end today, but I think that's it for our admin notes. So, on our recap, at the end of last week's episode, we had a couple of big fights in the upper city in the High Hall. We had cleared out the main courtyard. We then went and cleared out the sewers, even though we didn't have to. You can really pick one or the other if you would like. That leaves us with 3 things left, and we have to have a running fight to make our way up to the upper level of the High Hall here. We will then climb the brainstem, get up to the Netherbrain itself, and have a fight with the last line of defense that the Netherbrain has, and then we will open a portal and move into the Netherbrain's specific area and do battle with it there. So let's go ahead and jump in here, and we'll kind of approach this next fight. Like I say, it's more of a running fight. And I've certainly looked at the original Sin 2 to take a look at it as well. So, like I say, we'll kind of see how things go. So, here we are. This is the main area. You can see the bottom of the Netherbrain's brainstem here. The quest marker is up here at the top. It's above us, and we have 2 ways to go. Around the left or around the right. It's 6 of one, half dozen the other, which way you want to go. And like I say, I don't think there's a benefit one way or the other. However, you really only need to do this with one character. Once that character reaches the top, all of the enemies that you're fighting are going to disappear. So it can be a running fight, but it can also be just a race to the top, so to speak. So what we're going to do is make our way in here with our party, and then we will kind of see how things go. I'm going to break things apart here, and I'm going to take my Paladin here. Actually, I'll take everybody in here for now. And we'll get a cutscene.
But we'll need to be higher up to climb it.
Oh, yeah, we don't get the cutscene here. We get the cutscene at the top. Okay, so I'm going to break my group, and I'm going to take Astarion on this little adventure here. And you'll kind of see how this works. You can see here that we have an intellect devourer that is patrolling this area. There's a locked door here. However, we have the key for it, so it's not a big deal. There's another intellect Devour over here, a couple of them. Getting up this side. This side, you definitely need to be able to fly or have a high jump skill to do it. So, again, this side over here, you have to be able to get through the door over here on this side. So you need to have somebody who can actually do that. But once you're through, then a normal jump ability will get you through the rest of this and up to the door. So, like I say, it doesn't really matter. It's probably easier from a technical standpoint to go up the right-hand side, but from an overall standpoint, it really doesn't matter. So we're going to take Astarion up here. And we're going to deal with this intellect devourer. Kind of watching the detection cone here. Seeing what the limits of it are. So I can come up to here. Okay, so once we get through here, we're dropped into turn-based mode, and there's a reason for that. But we're gonna go up here and just deal with this intellect devourer first. Okay. And now we are dropped into turn-based mode, and you kind of get, you saw the cutscene of the Nautiloid coming in here. Okay. The Nautiloid has two attacks, quote-unquote, that it does. The first is this airstrike ability here. These denote areas where the Nautiloid is going to shoot with its cannons, and at the end of the turn those airstrikes are going to land. So you need to make sure that you are completely out of the way of those. So we're gonna move everybody out here. Okay, now the ghouls, whether they die or not, I'm not too worried about it. Okay, and then Gale. Oh, I can't go because the ghouls are there. So, Astarion's only goal here is to make it up to the top. And here you see the second ability that the Nautiloid has. This is where the Nautiloid calls reinforcements, or it sends down reinforcements. It basically is a teleporter that brings in Ilithid reinforcements, more mind flayers. Okay, so we are definitely going to have a fight on our hands, making our way up here. We definitely want to dash. The key that we picked up in the sewers unlocks that door.
Sounds like fun.
Okay, we can one-shot this one, and now we're going to fly. Yeah, we'll fly up here. And now you can see we have an Invoker, a Black Gauntlet, and an Intellect Devourer. We're going to fly again. Okay, and then we're gonna kind of make our way up here, kind of around the corner from everything. And Astarion's turn. The ghouls are gonna dash up. They're probably gonna end up inside an airstrike area. But again, doesn't really matter. Okay, so Gale. Okay, so Paladin. And the Emperor. Okay, and the Nautiloid did call, or is finishing its airstrikes. We're going to see it call in its reinforcements. There they are. You can see it calls in.
Just push through. Reach the brain.
Calls in a various group of reinforcements. Normally it's one Mind Flayer and a couple of Intellect Devourers and or Gluttons. Sometimes you will get 2 Mind Flayers though. Okay, so we did have one Intellect Devourer get up here next to us. I think that was the one down from this side that was patrolling that came up here. We're just going to provoke the attack of opportunity and open the doors. Okay, once we get in here, conversations. Hey, Jerry, welcome to the stream. Yep, like I say, get to take a gander at the final fight here. Now, what is supposed to happen here is your entire party is supposed to be transported up here with you. It's obviously a little bit buggy in that the locations for where your party members are a bit restrictive. Now you saw Shadowheart was standing right here. She got teleported up to the top, but nobody else did. So it's a little bit odd as to how it works. I know if you're all standing in this room that more than likely, I have had it happen once, more than likely all of your party members are going to be teleported upstairs. If you are not in that room though, you've got various percent chances of being actually teleported up to the top. So you may have to do like this and make your way manually up there. But with fly, it's easy to do. And you can wait a little bit and the airstrike fire will go away. And I'm actually going to go pick up a couple of these.
Always room for more?
Before I go up. And so I really can't carry those, but Gale's the only one. Have him drink that just to be able to carry it. Okay, so now for the Emperor and I. And this becomes a question of how dumb is the Emperor's pathfinding. Whether or not he walks through some of this fire or not. Okay, and once we're all here, we can have the benefit of another restoration pod. So we have one up here, we can get any spell slots back. So if you're going to do any buffs or anything like that, you can do them now. And I'm looking to see what we have. We have Cloud Giant Strength. Astarion doesn't have anything. Shadowheart doesn't have anything. Okay, so I'm going to actually, up here at the top, I'll explain the fight when we get there, but you don't have to have the fight up here. There's an easy way to get around it. I'm going to have this fight, and as such, things are probably going to get a little bad up here. So let's I think what I'm going to do with Shadowheart is trying to think how I want this part to work. I think I'm probably better off. Well, let's start with fire. We'll probably change this to psychic once we get in there. We may even have to change to necrotic.
Can't give up now.
Again, depending upon how this fight goes. So, Shadowheart, we're going to bring out the Dance Macabre. Okay. And that was from the other ghoul dying. And then let's yeah, that was a mistake on my part. Because I can't heal them like that. I don't know, they're undead. So I honestly don't know if... I know this should not work in tabletop. Okay, it doesn't work here either. So... I think that's good for now. We still have thoroughly stuffed. Actually, I can throw another aid here. Let's drop this out. Bring in aid for Shadowheart. We will upcast this. Actually, that aid got rid of Hero's Feast instead, so I'm better off because those attacks are going to be, they will be wisdom based, so I need to bring that back. I forgot that aid, I can only have temporary hit points from one location. I will do that afterward.
Never a dull moment.
So let's refresh. Actually, do I have the do?
I wonder what the next move is.
We'll get my level 6 spell slot back. We will use it to cast Hero's Feast. Okay. Because Hero's Feast has being immune to frightened, diseases, poisons, and advantage on saving throws. We don't get as many additional hit points out of it as we would from aid, but the additional benefits are more than worth it. And then we will put that back on, and now
Seems simple enough.
okay, so now we've taken our long rest, so to speak.
Whatever comes.
You can see we got all of our spell slots back.
No one back home will ever believe this.
And now we're going to drop a save here. You're going to get one, I believe, anyway. Hey, Tord, welcome. No worries, no worries. We're about to get into a fun fight here. I'm going to drop a save here because there's an interaction that you're going to get that after we're finished, we may want to look at some alternate endings and things like that. And this is the this is the place where you get to see one of those alternate endings. We're not going to do it right now. We're going to finish the normal playthrough, but then when we're done, since we're going to probably have time here, we can see if we want to explore some of the different endings that can come out of this. So we'll go up here and get ready to climb up the brainstem.
Better not be cursed.
Can't you feel it? We're almost there. Once we ascend, the Netherbrain stem will be in touching distance of the crown, but reclaiming the powers of Karsus himself. I'm ready. Are you?
Okay, so this is where you get the option to have Gale sacrifice himself. Now, through the various dialogue options that we've had, Gale wants to take control of the crown after this is done. He wants to ascend to control the Karsus Weave and become a god. And that's what this first one is about. We can also try and convince him not to do that. We can convince him to go up into the fight and give the crown back, or give the crown to Mystra instead. Now that's going to take a persuasion check to do it because of the conversations we've had previously. We can also persuade him to unleash the Netherese orb and kill the Netherbrain that way. And again, that's going to take a persuasion check because we have gone down a different path. So multiple different ways that you can finish Gale's questline here, and that's what this conversation does. Okay, but we're going to choose the first one.
Then I think it's about time we ascended, don't you?
There it is. The crown. The very thing that has been amplifying the Netherbrain's power. And the very place that we will be able to dominate it. That's where we should use the Nether Stones.
Well, that's just disgusting.
There you are. The rat catcher that became alone. The daughter of darkness. The wizard who defied a goddess. You are spectacular specimens. And you will make spectacular thralls.
The crown! Cast the spell on it!
Okay, so a couple things you notice. First, we have a 4-turn counter or timer over here. This does not mean that the game is going to end after 4 turns. What that means is that a Nautiloid is going to show up in 4 turns, and then we already know what Nautiloids do. We know that they do airstrikes and they bring in reinforcements. You can technically sit here in this spot forever and just continue fighting against Nautiloid reinforcements. So if you do decide to come here before you are level 12, you can sit here and farm XP up to the point where you will be level 12 by the time you leave this area. Now, I would never recommend that, obviously, but it is doable. The main goal here, as the Emperor said, is to get up here. Okay, this is where the crown is, and this is where the Emperor's special ability comes from. This is a spell that you have to cast within 6 meters. Okay, so you have to be up close and personal with the crown. You cast it on the crown, and then you have to wait until that whoever's casting it, that entity's next turn. And then a portal will open, and people are then free to move through that portal into where the Netherbrain is. Now, when you get into the Netherbrain, there's a game timer that will start, and that will end the timer out here, because basically it's a game over timer. So as long as you don't cast the compulsion on the crown, this timer can run out all you want. You'll just be fighting against, like I say, the Nautiloid reinforcements. But as soon as you start casting the compulsion and the portal opens, then another timer will start, and that is a game over timer. Okay? So looking around the battlefield, we have these acolytes out here. These 4 appear if you have sided with the Emperor. If you have not sided with the Emperor, then the Emperor is here in this room, and you're fighting against him. Since we sided with the Emperor, the game is going to make it difficult for us by spawning in these 4 acolytes, and these 4 are based upon the class makeup of your party. Now, since we have multi-classed almost everybody in our party, we could get a very random assortment of class-specific entities here, and we have. So we've gotten a ranger here, or a countermeasure to a ranger, and it basically is a ranger. It's an aberration. It has jump, it's got extra attack, it's got land stride, so difficult terrain no longer slows it down, and it's ranged based, and it's resistant to piercing damage, which is what a ranger would do, or would use. Then we have the spell plague, and the spell plague kind of sucks, not gonna lie, because they're a wizard. They're a high level wizard. They can cast high level spells, and they have magic resistance and the 3 main elemental resistance types. The Breaker of War is a countermeasure for a fighter. They're resistant to the martial types. They have Armor of Agathis, and it's cast at level 4. So you take 20 cold damage whenever you attack it with a melee attack. It has extra attack and improved extra attack, so it can make an additional one. The armor class on it is 21, by the way. And then you have the countermeasure for the cleric. So chilling strikes, so they bone chill you when they hit. It's using this flail that can stun you. This is the same flail that the water elemental or air elemental is using. So if they hit, they can stun you with it. They have favorable beginnings. So the first attack against you is going to have a proficiency bonus to it, which is +4. And they already have Spirit Guardians out, which is necrotic damage. So around the back, you're going to see 4 Arcanists, 2 with Fire Shield Warm and 2 with Fire Shield Cold. So again, Mind Flayer casters. And then, just to top it all off, you have a Dominated Red Dragon. And the Red Dragon has a bunch of hit points. There's 400 hit points there. All incoming damage is reduced by 2, which isn't a big deal, but it is completely immune to fire damage. Right, so you need to find other damage types to deal with it. Now, there are some ways to negate or protect yourself from some of these attacks. And you kind of have to prioritize how you want, or what damage you want to avoid during all of this. The main goal, again, is to get everybody up here, because once the portal opens, you have to physically click on the portal with a character to go into that area. So you can, right now, the easy way to do this, since everybody's going to roll first, you're all going to roll before the enemies here, is to take potions of invisibility. Have everybody take a potion of invisibility and spend 2 turns, because that's how long it's going to take you to traverse this distance, to make it up to here. Use the 3rd turn to start the spell, and when you do that, the Emperor is going to come out of invisibility. So then you can cast Darkness up here and kind of protect this area. But the Ilithid Arcanists aren't able to cast spells into it. And these enemies here have run down here toward this area to try and find your invisible selves. So it takes them a while to get back here to this spot, and it normally eliminates them from the fight entirely. And then you can just enter in, and the dragon doesn't do anything because, again, its breathe fire is a target based, and it can't target you inside of the darkness. So there's a real easy way to avoid this fight. I think we're actually going to try and play it out. I haven't actually done this before, but I think it's probably a good thing for us to look at. So Astarion can make it all the way in here to the Red Dragon. So let's look at what we can do here. Okay. So we're going to have Astarion with his bonus action take a potion of speed. He's going to fly in here next to the dragon. And you're going to see the next thing that pops up. There are these tentacles which are hidden throughout this entire area down here. As you get close, they're going to pop up. Okay. And now we're going to start laying as much damage as we can down on the red dragon here. But before I do that,
Need to stay focused.
I want to bring Shadowheart up here. Because I want to threaten the red dragon. So that now I can get sneak attack on one of Astarion's turns. And I'm going to drop darkness here. Okay, expected that. So now Shadowheart is going to drink a potion of speed. And her darkness is only that. That's a mistake on my part. I should have cast something else first.
Let's turn some.
Well, now that he's threatened, at least we're going to get some sneak attack damage here. Okay, so that took off 105 with a single hit. Oh, come on. Okay, there's another crit. Now the dragon's down to 10 hit points. So in one turn, without surprise, guaranteeing crits, Astarion took 390 hit points off the dragon. Wonderful to see. So now I need to start looking at some AoE stuff here. Hoping that doesn't hit Astarion. Okay, and now the Emperor. I'm going to start moving him up here toward the crown. He's not really of much use in this fight itself. I'm hoping the ghouls can act as distractions to various things here. Okay. And Gale, I'm going to again move right up here. Okay. And there's the darkness. Now, I don't really care what we do with the remainder of Gale's turn here, so I'm just going to end it. And now my Paladin. So, my goal here with the Paladin is twofold. First, to end the dragon. Oh, you're absolutely killing me. Five with advantage. Okay, and now I want to remove the wizard here. if I'm going to do that, I might as well do this. Okay. And then I would like to get one of these has dark vision, I believe, or has... Okay, so no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So now I'm just going to move over here to the edge. And let my Paladin take any incoming hits. Nah, I think I'll hold that in case somebody attacks me. Okay, don't know why we're getting a pause here with the tentacles. Okay, so they didn't do anything. And that's the other thing about killing the ghouls. They explode. So, now that we have the ghouls out of the way, we're all up front here. So, let's try and remove the Breaker of War here first. Okay, so... He have left? 13? Oh. Okay. I would prefer not to use Astarion on him for just 13 hit points. So let's have Gale... Shadowheart going to fly up here. he's going to cast a new darkness up here.
This feels good.
Astarion. He's got fire resistance, right? Yes, he does. So... yes. So I'm gonna get half damage here from attacking this one. Trying to remember if they do anything. I actually don't think I need to attack. I don't think I need to attack them. Because I don't think they do anything. I guess I'm gonna have the movement, so I might as well do it. I don't think they can cast anything into the darkness. Still have enough movement to get back into the darkness, I believe. I'll take the attack of opportunity, that's fine. Okay. The one time. The one time. So, where's freedom of movement?
Let's see.
Let's have some company.
You're absolutely killing me, Smalls.
Blood comes easy these days.
We're going to dash with the Emperor again. And we're going to get the Emperor right in here. Okay, now it takes an action to be able to use the compulsion, so he's going to do it at the start of his next turn.
I don't fancy their chances. I can't even catch my breath.
Alright, so that should end everybody's turn.
Concentrate.
I might as well throw an upcasted heal wounds in Astarion.
One can't always be a gentleman.
And this is what the Arcanists do. They normally cast Magic Missile. If they can't, because they can't target you, then they just skip their turn, basically.
Get to the crown and cast the spell. I'll buy you what time I can.
So we're gonna start the Emperor off here. And get him working on the compulsion. That's interesting. Where are you going? Yes, I know you're blinded, but... Okay. We'll drop darkness. We'll have the Emperor start the compulsion. Okay, and then we will have Shadowheart re-engage the darkness. Him being blinded does not stop the channeling of Karsa's compulsion. Okay. So we only have one turn of speed left here for Shadowheart. So she's going to be skipping a turn here in a minute. It's the same thing with Astarion. So...
Let's spill some blood.
Where's the cleric here? I really don't care about the tentacles attack. Okay, for Shadowheart, I think all we're going to do is start throwing down some area denial stuff. So we do only have one of the summons left. No, she can't do that. That's concentration based. Let's pop her out because the Arcanist here has actually chilled, so it has resistance to fire damage. Let's just pop her just outside. I don't have enough range to get there. Saved. Yep. 4 damage short. fly. Let's fly.
Another step forward.
Now he's going to dash in here. The question is he going to dash into the darkness or not? I don't think he's going to. He didn't.
Just keep
Okay.
them back.
It's weakened. This is our chance.
Even bound, its will is stronger than anything you've ever felt. The chains shake, threatening to break at any moment.
It's vulnerable, but not defeated. Use the portal. We will bring it down together. This is it.
Okay,
Its
and
will
now
is
the
weakening.
Emperor has used the portal and been transported into the Netherbrain psyche, basically. That's what this is a representation of. And we have the unbreakable will of the Netherbrain. This is a representation of something that we can physically attack to break the Netherbrain. Now, there's a 5-turn timer over here, and this is an end of game timer. Okay, this is the do it before the turns end or it's game over type of thing. Okay. Now, this is what's giving us this representation, this physical representation, is the Chains of Karsus as, instead of us attacking something like this, when we're already fighting on its head, the brain that we were walking, the things that we were walking along of outside the portal was actually the head here of the Netherbrain. This, because of the Chains of Karsus, has turned it into something physically as a representation, okay, that we can attack. Now, the thing about it is that it has psionic retribution, so the Netherbrain permits no interference. As a reaction to taking damage, it releases brain quakes. Now, it mind breaks nearby enemies. And a mind break, and it's an intelligence save, so it's not something that's easy to avoid. But mind broken, the affected entity is slowed by the Netherbrain's psyche shattering might. It deals 10d6 psychic damage, which is quite a bit. It uses its reaction to do it. So this is where you kind of change over to psychic resistance to be able to have the fight here, because that's the main attack method. Now, something else is going to happen here. Once you attack the Netherbrain, it's going to bring out an orb and something titled Marked for Negation, and we will see that here in a second. But for now, we have some people who are still outside here, so to speak, and we want to get them into the portal. Okay, and the first thing I want to do is move in here with my Paladin. And I'm thinking about, yes, I'm going to move in here with my Paladin. That's gonna suck. because to get there it's going to use up half my movement.
Let's see what this does.
This is it! Its will is weakening!
Okay, so once I'm in here, I'm going to take a potion of speed with my Paladin. Assuming I have any left. Of course. Yes, I do, because remember we crafted a boatload of them. Okay, and I'm going to fly all the way down here. And while I'm here, because placing things out of your inventory and transferring things between inventories does not use actions. I think this is probably an oversight in the game here. And again, if you don't know how to do that, when you're placing something out of your inventory, if you scroll your mouse wheel, that is what turns it like that. Okay, so now here I have 2 actions. Oh wow, it won't even let me cast it using... Okay. Because it's a bonus action, it won't let me cast it. I have another way around that. I can use 1 action to equip this. Oh, is it still not going to let me do it because it's a... You're absolutely kidding me. I have an extra action and it won't let me do it. Okay. Because I can't get back up here. Yes, I can. Okay. So now I'm all prepped and ready. Right? So Astarion here and Shadowheart should be out. Because they're incapacitated, because the potion of speed wore off. So Gale
farewell to the Netherbrain.
So, Gale gets to be the guy here. And what do we have? 300. So let's actually move.
No choice but to keep going.
My Paladin with the remaining movement over here. Onto this side. Okay.
No gloom, all doom.
Gale. And throw an alchemist fire down here. And things go boom. So let's see how much damage we end up doing here. I'm pretty sure I know how much damage we're going to do here. But let's chuck this thing down here and see what happens.
As you wish.
That's what happens.
Pain! Fear! Terror! Reconsider! Assess! Implore! Surrender!
Subdued at last, it begs for its life.
Join me! Wield me! Become absolute!
It pleads because it knows I'm its master. I will finish this.
The brain is on the cusp of its final thought, and it's taking all of the Emperor's strength to keep it there. An opportunity, perhaps.
We could do it, you know. We could rule the world.
Okay, now I'm going to drop a quick save here because you can't drop a regular save. Because this can also let us explore alternate endings here in a little bit. And hey, Lord Henry, welcome. Yes, you made it just in time for the massive explosion. So we have different options on how we want to play this out. So you can let the Emperor take over and implement the Ilithid Grand Design. And remember, the Emperor is Baldur, so the founder of Baldur's Gate and one of the greatest heroes in the past of the Forgotten Realms. This would allow the Emperor to give in to its basest Ilithid thoughts and actually fulfill the Grand Design. But instead of the Netherbrain being in charge, the Emperor would be in charge, and we would be the Emperor's right hand. The bottom option is you can actually betray the Emperor, use the Netherstones to dominate the brain, and now you are implementing the Grand Design, and you are ruling over the world. And obviously both of those are evil type endings, just different ways of going about it. And then the middle option is the quote-unquote normal option, to command the brain to destroy all the tadpoles and then itself and save Baldur's Gate and ultimately all of the Forgotten Realms. So we'll go ahead and play it out this way, but drop a quick save here so that you can at least come back and see the other options, because like I say, we're going to have some time here at the end, and I think it might be fun for us to kind of see how some of these other options play out. We won't have time to do that in the Bard live stream for Wednesday when it ends, So I think this gives us a great opportunity to kind of play around a little bit. But let's look at the main option first.
I must obey. I must end.
Hopes, nightmares, and the screams of legions upon legions of unborn Ilithids. The pain rips through you, obliterating all thought, all feeling. Your tadpole burns in your brain.
That was the crown of Karsus, by the way.
Silence. For the first time in a long time, your thoughts are entirely your own. And then, gravity. Everything you did, everything you sacrificed, it was worth it. For this.
Victory. Our enemies are dust at our feet. My powers, they're draining. Just like Mazora said they would. A small price to pay in the grand scheme of things.
It's over. It's truly over.
And here I was, worried I'd become some grotesque, deformed beast. I would say no offense meant, but, well, look at you.
It makes little difference to me. I did what I had to secure my freedom. And in spite of your resistance to completing your evolution, you have proved a good ally.
Skvar, you may have succeeded, but I have failed. Gith's son is dead, and Vlaakith has abandoned me. I will be hunted by her Inquisition to the ends of the world. I must leave. I have nothing more to gain by being here.
And here is the final check of the game. You have an option to try and persuade Lae'zel to stay. Now this check is sporty. It's very sporty. And you have to make it entirely on your own, if I remember right. I don't think it classifies that any of your party members are here. So we can try it, but I think it's a DC 30 persuasion check. I have 13 here, which means I'd have to roll a 17 to get it to happen. So, oh, I can add in others. So let's add in guidance from Gale and Eagle Splendor here for advantage. I don't know how many inspirations I have left, if any, but still, it's a 13 at the minimum and a 16 the maximum. And what do you know? Now, you can imagine if you're a martial character, like a fighter or a monk or something like that, trying to make that persuasion check, yeah, it's one of those things. You can quick save before this, and save scum this if you would like.
You, my ally, my peer. It will be a restless life while the false queen reigns over my people. But a life nonetheless, and a free one. Yes, I will stay. My destiny is for neither Vlaakith nor Orpheus to decree. It is mine. We fought well together. I will gladly fight with you again. If not the astral seas, then here, and wherever else we go.
That's right, Torrid. Enough of the nat ones.
That's a pleasant sight. Here's hoping they stay in their own plane.
With the Githyanki gone, there's nothing left but the silence of the city. Smoldering, waiting to be rebuilt. But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
The crown. It's somewhere in the Giontha. If I salvage the stones, I can reforge it. With the crown in my hands, I would be unstoppable. The casts I weave would be mine to command. I would be more than the greatest wizard who ever lived. I would be a god.
So, here is your final chance to determine how Gale's personal questline plays out. And this is what I meant a little bit ago, in that Lae'zel's companion quest and Gale's companion quest do not play out until until here, the very end of the game. The quests are going to remain active in your quest log all the way up to this point, and these decisions that you are making with Lae'zel and Gale are what determines how those two quests play out and complete. Here we have made choices earlier to have Gale forge his own path away from Mystra. We had him do some things that angered Mystra. He had a conversation with her where he was starting to assert his independence, so to speak, and we're going to continue on with that.
It's I who should be saying such things. Do not think I leave you without a heart as heavy as your own. But I owe it to myself to follow where destiny leads. I'll never forget you. That I promise. And if you ever felt differently, there'll be a place waiting for you in the heavens.
Gale will be but one god among many, doomed to squabble, to battle, to vie for control and power. And we will be the pieces they play with. But somehow, I do not think Mystra will allow it to happen so readily. He chose his fate. Now, let us make the most of ours.
Right. I suppose there is more work to do now. What first?
It's also important to note that if you played Gale as an origin character, there is a further cutscene where you get to see the confrontation, so to speak, between your Gale character and Mystra about becoming a god. You can actually go online and do a search for it and watch the YouTube videos of it. We obviously don't have that option here because we're not playing as Gale as an origin character. But it's a fascinating conversation that continues on a little bit more of the lore, expectations, conversations, that sort of stuff behind what happens in becoming a god. Now, becoming a god is a thing in tabletop. It is absolutely a thing. Way back, in the 3.5 rule set, they implemented the immortal rules. And there's a whole guidebook entirely devoted to ascending to godhood, how you do it, what it entails, the powers that come with becoming a god, as well as the further leveling up process while you are a god. It was fairly short-lived, I will say that. And I haven't played in any campaigns where we've done that in literally 20, 25 years. So I don't know if it's a thing in 5e rules or not anymore, or the new rule sets that Wizards of the Coast has put out. But it actually was a thing. If it still isn't a thing, it certainly was. So being able to see a player character given the option to ascend to that it strikes a special chord on in tabletop players, to be able to see that possibility happen.
There is much to do. But a drink might be nice. A seat would be better.
I will not be joining you. I fear my presence will be no more welcome in the streets of the city than it ever was.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but part of me will miss you.
I will miss you too.
Now that you no longer live in each other's minds, it's hard to tell if the mind flare is being sincere, though perhaps no harder than it ever was.
Now, all of Tyrell spread before me. 1,000,000 marks to make. 1,000,000 battles to fight. I may not belong to this land, but now it belongs to me.
It's over. And it's all because of you. You, who were destined to become a thrall. Thanks to you, there will be no Ilithid Empire, no Death God's tyranny. You have earned your place amongst the legends of the Sword Coast. You are the saviors of Baldur's Gate.
Last night was an exception. I hope you understand that. The battle's won. Our journey is over. And I need to take my place at Lady Shah's side. How could I forget? A pleasant, vivid memory. But now I have to move on. All this has been to bring me to this point. And now I'm finally here. Thanks in no small part to you. Lady Shah's work is never ending. I've cleansed the ranks of her followers, leaving only the faithful, the worthy. Now is the time to spread her word. So many have suffered greatly in recent times, gripped by pain and loss. They will rush to the Dark Lady's embrace. Not everyone would share that view. But you were always different, weren't you? In another life, this may not have been a parting. It may have been the start of something. But we made our choices, and must live with what we have, and what we've lost. Still though, you know where the House of Grief is, and what lies beneath it. We all need to be unburdened, every now and again.
Yes, both an amazing game and a great journey that we went through here, but we are not done yet.
6 months have passed since you defeated the Netherbrain. And since then, you have seen more of life than you ever thought possible. You are greeted as a savior, a champion, a hero. But sometimes you feel like something else entirely. An adventurer, a traveler, a survivor. You faced down the gods. You thwarted the Grand Design. Anything seems possible. But before you can write the next chapter of your story, you must end this one.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
Toward, that's pretty funny. So here is. Oh, I don't have it.
I wonder if I can get this from my own cellar.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Forgot that it clears your inventory out of everything except of the starting items and what you're carrying. I forgot about that. So I don't have Speak with Animals available on my Paladin, and there is no Speak with Animals potion anywhere in the camp. There's a bunch of stuff that you can pick up in here, but there is no Speak with Animals potion. So I won't be able to get full dialogues out of Scratch and the Owlbear. But before we start, one thing to note is that there is a clothing chest over here. If you don't like what you're wearing, every possible clothing item in the game is in here. And also, well, I take that back. Almost all of them, because I don't believe the robe is in here. Yeah, so it's almost all of them. Oh no, it's in here. Yeah. So it is all of them, and all of the dyes are here. So if you don't like what you're wearing, you can change it. And you can have these conversations wearing whatever you would like. No, Withers doesn't act that way. Nobody here acts like, or quote, they used to anymore. We will be able to see those conversations, though, when we get to the Bard playthrough. Because this camp is going to be substantially different when we get to that point, and the Bard has Speak with Animals as a spell, so we'll be able to see those conversations when we get there, and it's so cool. Both of them, taking a rest here together. The first thing to realize is that everybody has a title now. So Scratch, if you look up at the top, the best boy in the realms. Larian has put titles underneath everybody's name, which are really cool. The feathered hero of Baldur's Gate. I've looked around. I don't find any potions anywhere. I've never tried to steal from anybody here.
Lady Shah smiles on us.
Okay, but yeah, see, their inventories are all cleared out too. There's nothing on them. I think that's kind of an oversight in my mind, because I looked through everything. I went through every barrel, every pile of sacks, everything, looking for a potion of animal speaking. I zoomed in and looked at everything sitting on every table, and I couldn't find one. One thing I didn't do, actually, I would need acorn truffle and any salt. I didn't look around to see if I could actually craft one. Because I know that there are some crafting ingredients located around here, but again, I'm not too worried about it. Y'all are going to be able to see, because weave moss, I don't think, is a salt. I think that's an ash. Or maybe it's not. Yeah, it's a vitriol instead. And you need an ash, which is normally what we get from balsam. that's laying around, and then you would need a salt, which we normally got from mugwort in the past. But again, I'm not too worried about it. I was hoping that there would be one of them sitting like on a table somewhere or something that I could pick up. But I couldn't find one. Like I say, I went through every inventory in this place. There's a chest of grateful words over here, which we'll start with. And Astarion, did you see that? He was in his vampire bat form. So in here are a bunch of letters, and this is from all of the non-party member characters that you met throughout this. So you have from the Guild of the Nine Fingers, from Nocturne in Shar's Cloister, from Duke Ravengard, from Arabella, Araj of Ledra is here, Counselor Floric, Elminster, of course, Hithrak Voss and a Slate, Hope in the House of Hope, Mayrina, who we managed to save in this one, Nine Fingers Keen herself, Zevlor, obviously, from the Harpers, and from the Emperor. And you can read through all of these. I'll just pop them up briefly, and afterward y'all can go through and take a look at them. They are actually really cool. They do a really good job at fleshing out the endings that the various characters have had. Especially interesting are what happened to Arabella, what she has done. It's really interesting to see how her progression through the weave has gone and what she's up to. But yeah, there's just some really good stuff in here. The one from Orpheus is another good one, in that it kind of explains his ongoing fight against Blacketh and how he's now part of a resistance. But yeah, again, I'm just going to pop these open real quick. If you're interested in them, you can go search all of these missives online and go pull them up, or like I say, afterwards when the VOD goes up, you can just pause these at each particular point and read them. Okay, but this is the other non-party characters here. Now, all of the regular people that we're used to seeing that we recruited are here, including the Owlbear and Scratch. Withers is still here, but there's somebody new, and that's Milil. Now, Milil is an interesting addition to this. Milil is actually a god, and he's doing a divine performance here, but he's shown here as a forgotten troubadour. He was brought in by Withers to do this. We're going to go talk with Milil first.
Oh, hello. Let me guess, you've got some suggestions about the music choice. You have no idea who I am, do you? I thought Withers might have set the stage a little.
Okay, and now we have a deception check here to make. It's a pretty hard one for us to make. But we made it.
You know. You're bloody right. It is an honor. Finally. The scribe picks an adventurer of substance, of culture. What can I do you for?
And here you have the opportunity
Your
to...
wish is my... etc. What song do you want?
You can change the music that's playing in the background from all of this. So, or you can leave it how it was.
Fantastic idea. It'll suit the whole affair perfectly.
And he's going to change his song to We Live Another Day. And you can see that up there at the top, Divine Performance. But yeah, Milil is an actual god in the Forgotten Realms. It was amazing for me to see him being included. And as for Volo, of course he's here. So now you can go around and have conversations with your companions.
Boo! We are not dreaming. It is our old friend. Oh, and it is good to be seen. Oh, after so many days down in the dark, Minsc began to wonder if he was some blind bug who had only dreamed himself to be large and bulksome. You will forgive the aroma, I hope. We were not expecting the Dusty One to open a portal to our very cell. Boo had a moment to lick himself clean, but there is a little too much of Minsc to cover. Minsc and Boo have been helping, of course. We guard the streets, while Jaheira is occupied with harperish matters. The Zentarum rule the city's underbelly, so Minsc and Boo went to give them a tickle. There were harsh words, battle cries, some manner of head wound. We awoke in a Zentish cell, awaiting trial by noble combat. Execution, says Boo, though I am not sure of the difference. It is a long walk to the gallows, and Minsc still has his fists, no? In ample time indeed. So long as the Bone Mage returns us to our cell by dawn, Boo would not be late to the bloodshed. But leave such matters for the morn. Tonight is for celebration and the telling of tales. How have you filled your days since we tore this sticky tyrant from the sky? Ha! Boo does not believe your bitter words. There is much merriment to be made before the night is done. Go and greet the others. Minsc shall make himself presentable. Ah, this pond shall do nicely, Boo. Though I see no soap. So you shall have to blow the bubbles for me.
And I don't think Volo sells anything, but we'll go check. So now that we've finished up with Minsc, it only seems right to go talk to Jaheira next.
Well now, you can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. How nice to be understood again. I have spent the past months bickering with builders and bankers, all to restore the city exactly as it was. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers, same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon, same cisterns overflowing, huh? Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three, but nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing 8 ones. They might learn a thing or two, if they don't expel her. Again. There is still much to do. People to house. A Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less.
So you have a way to influence your own ending here. I'm not going to do this.
The songs of my suffering will break hearts from here to the Hordelands, I am sure. Now, before this night grows any deeper, I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
A reference to when we first met her and she put a truth serum in our wine. I can check with Volo.
Ah, my dear friend, it's been an age, has it not? You're looking very well indeed. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post.
Yeah, there's no option to buy anything from them or from him or anything like that here.
Busy as ever. Better that than the reverse, wouldn't you say? Every major publishing house on the Sword Coast has been vying for my upcoming book on the subject of our adventures together. I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? Me, it's all Volo as far as I'm concerned. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Hmm? Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
Okay, something I should have known. It was way too much of an oversight for Larian not to have allowed us to be able to talk to Scratch. Somebody in a forum post mentioned something. You're absolutely kidding me. I gave up searching bottle racks 1,000 years ago because there's never anything in a bottle rack ever in the game. and they put one in the game. I hadn't actually done a Google search to see if it was here, but like I say, it seemed like a massive oversight to me not to have one of these in the game. And yeah, I searched everything. I looked for scrolls, and that sort of stuff in all of this, and just didn't bother searching the bottle rack. Oh boy, that's hilarious. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go talk to Scratch and the Owlbear. Gotta find them. They're always running together somewhere. There's Scratch.
A familiar sight. Scratch can't quite speak around the thing he has in his mouth.
I found this. It smelled like you, so I kept it. Seemed like something you might like to throw? Oh, I've been so good. I've got a nice home in the city now. A girl named Mindy says I'm her best friend. She's mine too. Also you and Owlbear. I've got so many best friends, I hardly know who to play with. I certainly have, and I always will. Forever, I think. And so will you.
So, here, laying on the ground. As soon as you go into throw, Scratch will alert.
I wasn't sold at first, but the forest is rather good for my newfound powers. You could scream bloody murder out here and no one would ever know.
They've done some really cool animations for the epilogue. And that's it. You can do that throughout any time in the game. You can play fetch with Scratch, and he'll bring it back and he'll drop it at your feet. And you can play fetch with Scratch throughout the game. It's not just in the epilogue.
Friend? Friend! You came! Big brother Scratch, too! Happy. Yes, miss this more. Yes, big. But Scratch is smart, teaches me many things, like Big Brother. Lots. Make friends with a turtle, a cat, a kraken. Kraken eats my cat friend, so I run away. Sad, tired now. Want sleep, want cave. Bear man? He is big, but not bigger than me. I like him. I go to him.
Hey, and now we can go talk to Halsin, because we did just, I guess, without his consent, get him to adopt an owlbear.
You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more. Just as I hoped they would, more like. The Oak Father has been kind to me this past while. Yet I cannot forget the bond we all forged together. It is one that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. You are right, of course. I am accustomed to dwelling on the past, even when it brought me nothing but unhappiness. You changed that, and gave me the most precious of memories. Now the task is to make yet more of them, so that each reunion shall be all the sweeter. And who's to say we need to make such gatherings a rare occasion? My hearth is yours to warm yourself beside always. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. In that case, very well. Our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what was once a shadowy wasteland into a true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony, stronger together. My greatest purpose and greatest reward. Those children have been through more than fate had any right to cast at them, and yet they go on as resilient as anything in nature. I impart what knowledge I can to them, yet, in truth, they teach me far more. The land we saved is theirs, and they will cherish it, I'm sure. Thaniel and Oliver shall never want for friends again. You are welcome whenever you like, and for however long you please. Now, please, tell me all, and spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see, my charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake. I am all ears, though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image. You have kept yourself busy. I expected no less, in truth. I shall be able to keep the children enthralled for a few more nights yet, thanks to you. And should you wish to retell of your exploits in person, well, I shall not object to a night off. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else. Do you truly even need to ask? Of course. Who could not open their home to a befeathered hero of Baldur's Gate? And I did promise the children I would bring them back a surprise. Oh, imagine their faces. Quite often. They come and go as they please, but with so many playmates to avail of, they are far from strangers. They ask after you often. What you did for them will never be forgotten. I can see it in the land all around me. But more importantly, I see it in their faces whenever they visit. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of gods, as far as I'm concerned. On occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Francesca of the High Forest is Archdruid now, and by all accounts, she has proven to be a steady and wise influence. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence. As did I, but somehow I feel like I no longer need to roam. That I have found something worthy laying roots for. Amazing what can be discovered about oneself, even at a ripe old age. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this.
Thanks, Tord. I appreciate you being here. Have a good day or evening.
Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Oh, I am well aware, trust me. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on, enjoy the festivities.
And we did get a whittled duck from Halsin. Halsin is at the intersection of a lot of storylines. It's when you go through his conversation options, it's easy to, forget how many of them he was actually a part of.
Not to mention
So now let's go with Wyll, the heart of the gate. Halsin was the alderman of the reclaimed lands. That is now the town of Rythwin, all the areas that were under the Shadow Curse.
Gods, I must look a mess. I just rolled out from under a pesky ogre when Withers yanked me in. Oh, I didn't mean that. I just gutted the ogre, not... How about I change the subject before I dig this hole any deeper? It's so good to see you. And I've got so much to tell. The trolls I've torn open, the ghouls I've cleaved, the stories I've been itching to tell. I don't suppose you'd indulge me. Yes, but just the one, or I'll be yammering all night. You want to hear about the Stegosaurus that bullied Candle Keep, the impossible lich, or the young dragon who crawled out of Deeping Cave? There are tales galore of a great green dragon called Clogiliometer. Try saying that 5 times in a row. Clogiliometer, Clogilimufa, Clogamother, whatever. Let's call it Old Gnawbone. Turns out, Old Gnawbone had kids. And one of them flew the roost and took to stalking a small elven enclave outside Crypt Garden Forest. The damned dragon had turned the place into a slave camp before I arrived. Sordid beyond words. He was a big boy, but still a young'un. A wonder of the skies, but a lumbering oaf on the ground. I tried a sly approach, but the whelp saw me coming and up it flew. Poison poured from its mouth as it descended. I tumbled away, shot it with arrows, and it crashed to the ground. I could have ended the battle there and then, but this was prey that deserved to be played with. The beast was a smoking heap of black-green scales once the battle was over. The elves and I sang songs and drank mead in celebration until their barrels went dry. I wish you'd been there to join in. Oh, to battle together, just like the old days. I suppose that's my way of saying I miss you. Tonight, I toast not just the people we've become, but the people we were. Warriors, winners, saviors. I've seen him more than a few times, and he's as proud of me as I am of him. He's leading the city's renewal, opened the gates to all newcomers, rebuilt the council from scratch. And he's back in his element, commanding the Flaming Fist with brave heart and no shortage of empathy. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's Chosen primed the Fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, fathers pardoned every last fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but with Floric's help, he's teaching the Fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart. I won't lie. Losing the Eldritch Blasts and the Hexes took some getting used to. Nothing but void where once there was hellfire. So, I stoke new fires in myself using the lessons my father once taught me. Now, the Blade of Frontiers is a ranger. A true hunter of monsters. A warden in more than just name. Go on, the night's young. You shouldn't waste a moment of it. Or waste a single drop of wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
Hey, and now we will get to our main companions that we've had with us for most of this time, and that's Shadowheart, Gale, and Astarion. So let's start. Oh, I guess Lae'zel. Let's do Lae'zel first. Forgot about that.
I never imagined we'd be standing toe-to-toe on this day, in this place. Nothing but allies, I always told myself. A necessary partnership. But in spite of every strained word, every barbed glance, seeing you brings me even more pleasure than taking a royal inquisitor's head. Were it not for you, I might not have known the value of partnership, connection. I found new allies now. New friends. People I trust and who trust me in return. We've heard word of a Githyanki outpost hidden deep in Chult, the last of Vlaakith's Sword Coast strongholds. We mean to slay every last Sarth and Kithrak. I thought perhaps you'd care to join us. Right you are. Not every night is for spilling blood. I shouldn't be so callous as to spoil the quiet pleasures of this one. Now go, mingle while you can. That's the word, right? Mingle? There is plenty of time yet for slicing scalps and tasting blood.
Okay, and let's start with Astarion, the Sun-Walking Regent.
Well, look who it is. My first and oldest friend. The last 6 months have been kind to you.
And look at that outfit he's wearing.
Traveling far and wide, seeing all this world has to offer. A fine life indeed. Cazador's mansion has become my palace, and played host to every kind of banquet and soiree and masquerade imaginable. And of course, has seen its fair share of hedonism, clandestine deals, and the occasional disappearance. Whatever it takes to build up my influence over those who matter. I'm spinning my web. Power grows slowly, but I have nothing but time now. Rather wonderfully, actually. I've been making all sorts of new friends. They're the kind of friends that would see me burn the first chance they get. But that's all in the nature of the game, isn't it? But the important thing is I am doing wonderfully. Finally having a life that's worth living. And who knows what's next? There's an entire world out there, ready for the taking. Perhaps the next time we meet, we'll have grander conquests to toast. I did miss you, you know. There is a sense of loneliness that comes with power. We did share a wonderful adventure, you and I. A pity to see it end in some ways. But we have great new lives stretching out before us, and great new adventures to go on. I will never forget the time we spent together, though. And I know you'll never forget me. Until next time, darling.
I'll say it once again, Neil Newbon is amazing. So now we'll talk to Gale and Tara.
A stunning starlit sky.
Well, there he is. Gale in all his glory. I hope you're happy, the god of ambition. Have you ever heard anything more ridiculous? Ambition, aspiration, greed and hubris is all I hear. The Gale I knew wasn't like this. He recognized his mistakes. He was contrite. All he wanted to do was live. Unfortunately, he fell into company that turned his gaze toward foolishness. Yes, I mean you. Then you're just as mad as he. I know there's nothing you could have done to stop him. Not really. Once he'd decided to learn nothing from his mistakes, what use were either of our protests? Perhaps you'd be willing to come meet Gale's mother sometime? She misses him so, and I know it would do her heart a world of good to discuss her son with someone who knew him as he was. Jolly good. I'll tell Mrs. Dekarios to be expecting you. Oh, she'll be delighted. Things just haven't been the same without himself cluttering up the place. Enjoy your party, dear. I've heard you quite deserve a celebration.
And Gale. He is now ambition incarnate. He has become the god of ambition.
Goodness. Was Faerun always so dull? Still, at least the company was worth the trip, if not the view. I told you I would, didn't I? I imagine you're wondering how all this came to be. The finer points of divine ascension are beyond mortal comprehension, I'm afraid, but I can provide a rudimentary sequence of events. First, I retrieved the crown of Karsus and reforged it using a series of precise and highly complex Netherese incantations. Then, I used it. As you know, the orb within me was the half-formed Karsite Weaver. Magic left incomplete by Karsus' self-destruction. I finished it. Using the crown of Karsus, I turned it into a new form of magic, fused with my being, driven by my purpose. And then I put it to work. As expected, Mystra was unwilling to hand over the reins of the weave, so I've claimed dominion over another area which I've passing familiarity. Ambition. I offer them nothing. I inspire them to seize their destinies for themselves. Great as the heights I've reached thus far may be, I've not forgotten my humble origins. In fact, they're central to my doctrine. Those drawn to the Galarian Creator merely seek my guidance as the impressive, all-powerful being I've become. Ambition is about beginnings. It's not just about the heights, but the lows that preceded them. I was nothing. A drifting dust mote of a wizard, abandoned by my goddess, my powers lost, my reputation destroyed. And look at me now. I'm their proof. Proof their hopes are not barren wastes, but the loamy soil in which their future achievements will flourish. proof that with ambition, anything is possible. Precisely. Though that isn't to say I'm averse to the odd bit of direct encouragement. A whisper in the ear of a struggling artisan. A breeze to flutter the pages of a tome before a frustrated mage. A magical weapon stumbled upon by a desperate would-be hero. I am ambition incarnate. As indistinguishable from that most potent sensation as Mystra herself is from the weave. And word is spreading. There are already several shrines in my honor scattered across the outer reaches of Thay, and rumors of a very prominent temple under construction in Arm. This is only the beginning. I thought you would be. Now, divine as my company undoubtedly is, I have an eternity to catch up with you. A luxury few others at this party possess. Don't let me deprive them of your company, or mine, for that matter. It's not every day a newborn god shows up to the reunion. Still.
And now, last but not least, Shadowheart. The Mother Superior of the Cloister of Somber Embrace.
Lady Shah's blessings to you. Or perhaps you don't need them. You look well. I couldn't agree more. Lady Shah's holy work is all-consuming. I doubt I'd manage without a featherbed to turn to. Her entire church prospers. The Absolute washed the Sword Coast with blood and tears. It's now a fertile ground for her message to flourish. Broken hearts, shaken faiths, refugees without homes, former cultists without purpose. They can all become the Night Singer's children. With the right nudge. You should see how they flock to us. We spread like the night sky chasing the sun below the horizon.
She always has the greatest outfits.
A pity, yes. But also for the best, perhaps. It would have pained me to have you close, but not be able to dedicate myself to you in every waking moment. We would have been able to claim just enough of each other's hearts in order for it to hurt. Better to indulge ourselves fully whenever fate allows, than to live in compromise. And tonight of all nights was made for indulgence. I'd like to think I'm cunning enough to get away with it. Come here to me. Like a rare vintage. Bittersweet to taste so infrequently, yet always worth the wait. Now, tell me all. What have you been doing with yourself this past while? You've been busy. Careful you don't pull a muscle. I'm not there to nurse you back to health anymore. I suppose you'll be keen to do the rounds, with so many old acquaintances gathered. Do not let me hoard your time. But don't be such a stranger, either, in future. You know where to find me. I can always make some time for an old friend. One of the privileges of being in charge. I've got my own private wine cellar now. I'll keep a special vintage aside for your visit. And should one thing lead to another, well, we all deserve to be wicked now and again. All-consuming. Endless decisions to make, underlings jockeying for your attention, threats from the outside, threats from the inside. There's times I miss when it was just our little group against the odds. Simplicity is a luxury that's drifted out of my reach, I'm afraid. But at least for tonight, I can have a taste of how it used to be. Almost as busy as I am. Such rapid growth creates a good deal of work for a quartermaster. So many lost souls in need of dark cloaks. She has risen to the occasion, though, as I knew she would. Sometimes she fears the others will grow jealous, but I see her as a favorite. Well, it's true. I do. They can challenge me on the matter if they dare, though none are so bold. I shouldn't. But from time to time, yes. Holding the office she once held, standing within the shadow of Lady Shah herself, it complicates my feelings towards her. I came to see her as an adversary, an obstacle. But what recourse did she have? What did she see when she looked at me? A future in which she was discarded, where the reward for her service and sacrifice was to groom her own replacement. What transpired was the Dark Lady's will. If time rolled back, I would do the same thing all over again without hesitation. Yet, I am not without sympathy. Only if you leave me feeling lightheaded. I might need a few more of those before the sun threatens to rise.
Such a complicated character. I'm glad we played out her storyline this way. Like I say, it's one that you don't get to see very often, but one which I think is perfectly suited to her as a character. So now we do have a final conversation to have.
Not to mention all my favorite wines.
This one night is like any other, and yet different. Thou art the savior of Baldur's Gate, until such time it requires saving again. How dost thou feel? I am pleased to hear it. The satisfaction of one's intention is, to my surprise, a rare accomplishment. Enjoy the revelry of the day. Thou deservest at least that much. What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready. For thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving. To you.
Now, I would highly recommend, and this is just a personal thing with me, that the first time you complete the game, you let the credits play out. I do this with every game that I play to completion. Everyone wants to skip the credits. It's worth just taking a few extra minutes and letting it play out to see all of, and acknowledge in your own little way, just by seeing their names, the amazing people who put this game together. Now, I've already done this, so I'm not gonna expect you to do it, because there's something else that we probably want to do. We have 30 minutes left here.
There thou art, the dead three. Thy faces gods, thy actions barely worthy of the name. Didst truly believe thy ploy would succeed? Didst believe I would not notice? Thou soughtst to bolster thy strength by taking away the souls of mortals. But souls vanish when their hosts become mind flayers. Didst think the other gods would not notice? Gods thou may be, yet thou hast proven thyself fools, everyone. The supplication of Bane, the whimper of Baal, the death mule of Merkel. Felled by mortals, I overestimated thee. They did not. Vermin, away. Thou wilt trouble us no more.
And Ostamura, that's a great time to ask that question. We talked a little bit about it, and I'm not going to go through the entire lore, but you saw part of who Withers is right there. Withers is actually Jergal. We were hinted to that in a book that we discovered in Act 3. Jergal was a god. Originally, he was the Lord of the End and the Lord of the End of everything. He was the god of death. And then he willingly gave up his godhood and split his powers amongst the Dead Three. And that is who took over individual parts. So Bane became the god of tyranny, Baal was the god of murder, and Merkel was the god of death. And they were the split of the powers that Jergal gave up. Now Jergal he's still divinely powerful, but now he is the scribe for the gods. He keeps note of all of the dead, and that was his job going forward. And you can see there in that little cutscene that played out is he's kind of chastising his children, so to speak, the people who were the gatherers of his power, and saying, look, now we put you in your place. Hopefully you're going to stay there. So now let's go back and do two things. We have some time here, and we're going to go back and reload two things. So, first is here in the High Hall. We're going to go play out 3 alternate endings. The first of which involves Gale. This is going to be the shortest of them because we're not going to go through the epilogues again or anything like that. But now we have a conversation that's going to involve Gale about what to do with the Nether Resort.
Can't you feel it? We're almost there. Once we ascend, the Netherbrain stem will be in touching distance of the crown, and reclaiming the powers of Karsus himself. I'm ready. Are you?
Let's take another option here.
And I would die in the process, just to win the favor of a goddess who scarcely cares for me. We discussed this at length. Thought you and I were of a similar mind.
And here's the persuasion check. Okay, now again, it's pretty high. No worries, Astamura. I know I'm not a huge lore guy, but I do know a bit of the past of the Forgotten Realms, so happy to share it.
I can simply tell you what you want to hear, then ascend by myself and seize the crown anyway. You know? Sometimes I wish I were a more selfish man. Life would be so much easier. But, alas, you're right. The orb is the only way. All that's left for me to do is spirit you away to safety. You ready? There's endless wonder out there. Infinite possibilities. Perhaps fate will bring us back together before the universe dims. Forgamus, Inferni, Blandimenta. Up you go then, Gale. Let's make this count. The whole world's watching.
To die. Come to me. Surrender and live. Thrall!
Thrall? No, I think you're mistaken. The name's Gale of Waterdeep. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, though our time together will be exceptionally brief. Farewell, and happy land.
This part we're familiar with, so we'll skip a little bit of these cutscenes.
Everything you did, everything you sacrificed. It was worth it. For this.
He did it. He actually did it. He blew up the brain.
The tadpole? I can't feel it anymore. And here I was worried I'd become some grotesque, deformed beast.
But Gale... he's gone.
Strange. I miss him. More than I thought I would.
A most noble sacrifice. We have achieved all that I desired. Thanks to Gale, we are free.
Skvar, you may have succeeded,
And the rest of
but I
these
have failed.
cutscenes are going to play
His
out
son is dead, and Vlaakith
the same
has
way with
abandoned
the same
me,
conversations.
be hunted by her
But
Inquisition
again,
to the
a
ends
different
of the
way to
world.
go with
must
things.
leave.
That
I
goes,
have nothing more to
again, all the
gain
way
by
back
being
to Act
here.
1, when you were feeding Gale to keep his orb from going critical. So now we're going to explore the last two endings here that we have access to. This is at the choice. We made a save right at the choice where we were deciding what to do with the Netherbrain. These choices were added and expanded upon. Added and or expanded upon in patch 6. And then again added to in patch 7. So first, let's let the Emperor fulfill the Ilithid Grand Design.
I admire the ambition. The thought did cross my mind. But whoever becomes the Absolute faces a war with the entire Githyanki army. Strong as we are, they are legion. I cannot be sure of survival.
So here we have persuasion options. And a help. There's our nat 1. I thought we were done with those, Tord. we just can't seem to pass this to save our life. We've got 1 inspiration left. There we go.
You have grown much. I'm proud of you. Let's do it.
Together, conquer, rule, command!
In my name.
That's right, Lord Henry. One last one for the road.
Ushered in by your hand. Now dwarfs his title. He is a god king in waiting, claimant to the stars, and all who dwell amongst them. But an emperor needs a right hand. A conqueror needs a general. And who could be better suited than you?
So we again have some options here on what to do, and it's always good to be able to drop a save here. Now we're not going to go through some of these, but you do have an attack option here, which is actually hopeless. I'll just say that, but we're going to accept your calling.
The first victory of many. The Githyanki have fled, but they cannot hide. No one can. Together, none can resist you. After all, you were made for each other.
Now with this one, you do not get an epilogue, because there is no epilogue to have. Everybody is a thrall in the entire realms, or will soon be a thrall. So there's no reunion to have. And we have one more that we will take a look through here. And this, of course, being us, becoming the Absolute. This is the most evil of the endings, with you taking charge of all of the realms.
in my name.
The world is yours. All who still draw breath bow to you. Your authority is unmatched. Your power is absolute.
So much power. No one can resist you now. But what comes next?
You have come so far. Once you wished for nothing more than to survive. But now your dreams are far grander. By your hand alone, the future of all things shall be determined. Or so it would have been, had you not indulged too often in the power that the Ilithids provided. Now the scales demand to be balanced. Ceramorphosis beckons.
Okay, so choices have brought you here. Accept your fate and succumb to Ceramorphosis. Or we have a constitution check here, which the only way for us to pass it is to roll a nat 20. And you can save scum this. You can drop a quick save right here. We're not going to save scum it. But we will take our 3 chances to try and roll a nat 20.
This is but the first conquest. Every realm shall quake at your power. Every tongue shall speak your name in awe. Every god shall perish in your shadow. This world is yours. Now for the rest.
we go. So, we got to see there at the end some of the alternate choices that can be made. There are 3 others, I believe, that we won't get to see played out. Because in either this one, well, 2 of them we can see played out in the Bard, the 3rd one we can't because we're not Dark Urge. But that kind of gives you an option about some of the endings. You always can go online and look those up and watch some YouTube videos of them. But it does show some of the links that Larian has gone through to give different people different endings for the game. And again, it's just amazing to see, as gruesome as it may be. So that brings us, after a year, to the end of the Paladin livestream. I've said it before, but I will take this last opportunity to say it again. For those of you who have been here the entire time, and for those of you who have been here even just a single day, I cannot thank you enough for the support that you have shown throughout this live stream. I never expected, when I started streaming this over a year ago, that we would get to where we are. Let alone that anyone would still be even interested enough to show up and watch the live stream to its conclusion. And that is entirely because of all of you. So, from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. I thank you for the support. I thank you for the interactions. I thank you for the comments of all types, both good and bad. But overall, for the support that you have given to the channel, to this live stream, and to myself, again, I can never thank you enough. I think we have reached a very satisfying conclusion to this. And as always, I want to thank you all for being here because, again, as always, without your support, none of this would be possible. So for the final time in this live stream, I will say this is Manager of All saying until next time, fare thee well.